Hey, welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to be talking about these XMCosy smart outdoor string lights, and I'm going to get them unboxed, get you my initial impression. I'll show you what it looks like, with them hanging, and then give you my final thoughts as well. So stay tuned. Full disclosure, they did provide these free of charge to me, but there's no strings attached. I'm not required to even make this video, so you're going to get my full and honest review. So without any further ado, let's get these unboxed. So these are one massive heap of lights and string. I will say that the uh, the cord is actually some relatively thick cord, and it feels like it's relatively well made. And they have these nice tees on them, so it looks like there's some extra reinforcement here to try to protect, the cords and everything. And they have these little hooks so that or these little loops that you can hook onto to hang them, as you desire for your string lights. So pretty decent setup. I'll have to look at the bulbs and such. It seems that they're just plastic. Yeah, they are plastic bulbs, and maybe they don't come off. Looks like they might be attached permanently here, or require some good force to take these off. So I don't think I'm going to be taking these apart. I know on the Govee brand, I took these off and reinforced the waterproofing here because that was one of the issues that some folks had, but maybe we'll just leave these as is and try them out. And obviously it has the plug on the one end, and then the other things in the box are the user manual. And then we do have, it looks like, some hooks that we could use if we wanted to hang them. A little screw here, and then it hooks around this piece right here. Or there's some zip ties in here, and then there's the screws, I guess, for these hooks as well. So if you just wanted to use these hooks on, some type of support beam or something, you could do that and then hang these off of that and go back and forth. Or if you need to zip tie them to something, you have that as well. So it's a pretty nifty little, packet in here. But more importantly, let's see how these lights work. So I'm going to get them plugged in, and then I'll show you what it's like. So I got these plugged in, and you can see they're all working here, and they're blinking red. This is the bulb that I took the plastic off of, but you can see clearly they're all working. I'm going to try to change them using the button on the controller here. Here you can see it cycling through the solid colors that it has. There was like a white color right there. There's definitely a couple whites in here. That one white looked, pretty standard for string lights, so that'll be a good standard color if you want to utilize a white for these. Here's a mode where they more seamlessly move between the colors, and a smoother transition, if you will, between the different colors, so that they can change colors without having that quick change there that we saw in that last mode. And here's like a pulsating of each of the colors. Here's, looks like a more of a party mode with the different colors. And here's a red, white, and blue. So you can see the red. It's a little bit hard to see in the camera, but red, white, and we have blue. So these are all separate bulbs, or those separate colors, and it looks pretty good. So if you're looking for 4th of July or other patriotic holidays here in the US, the red, white, and blue actually look really good in those colors. So let's go ahead and go out and show you what it looks like with these installed, hanging up, and what that looks like, and I'll give you my final thoughts then. All right, I was able to install the XMCosy lights around the pool, and I have them right beside the Govee lights. So once it gets dark tonight, I'm going to let you see what that looks like. But I was really surprised as I was putting these up. Very sturdy, very strong. I didn't even have to use the guide wire. I was able to just hang it by the string with that T shape that's above the light. So definitely felt much sturdier than the Govee. A couple other things I noticed right away is these are clear lights, which is preferred for me over the Govee. But the other side of that is, the Govee's better at indicating what options you have for the lights and be able to control them individually. So once it gets dark, we'll jump right into it. All right, now it's nice and dark out here, and I have the Govee lights as well as the XMCosy lights on right now, but I'm going to show you what it looks like with just one of them on. So here you can see this is just the XMCosy. I have the Christmas scene on, so it is red and green right now. And I'll show you some other options as well. So here you can see in the app, I have the Christmas scene on. I'm going to switch it over to the strobe, and you can see how it just quickly changes. We have the fade, which is a slower pace change of colors here. Following that, we have the pulse, and this one will, fade in and out, that type of thing in between the colors and go off in between. Then we have the blink, and this is, I would argue, more of a strobe than what the strobe is. Also have the chase, which is a little bit slower to get through the colors because it does start at one end and then it sits there for a little bit on the color before it starts the next color. But you can see as it goes through what that looks like. We have America, where we have the red, white, and blue, and it is a really good white in there. Um, Pick 2 is almost like Christmas, but it's more like a yellow and red. And then the multi is, colorful setup where it varies and it's more of a rainbow effect, if you will, here. Also, you have a music mode, color mode, where we can go in and just pick a color. So I can make it green or blue or like a pinkish purple, red, any of the colors you can see here. Or you can go to white. And this is the warm white, which is my preference, but you can do different colors. This is like a middle, and then this would be the cool white. But again, I like more of a warm white. It looks more like the traditional lights to me. And then obviously we can cut the power and turn them back on. So everything's pretty straightforward, but not tons of options here for the XMCosy. So I'm just going to show you what this looks like. Here's the white for XMCosy, and then I'll switch it over to the white for Govee. So here's the white for Govee, the illumination, and this one is a much brighter white than what the other one is, but it's maybe not quite as authentic of a white. So definitely two different options there, and two different types of lights. This one has tons of different options for the scenes, so we can go in and see all the different options here. We'll go into festival, and you can see there's like 4 for Christmas and multiple for Halloween, like 3 there, Easter, Valentine's Day, etc. So you can switch between these, and these are much more in depth than what the XMCosy lights are. So if you're looking for these more intense lights and that type of thing, definitely gonna need something else like the Govees. But if you want something more straightforward or team, then the XMCosy may be the answer for you. One last thing I want to call out about the Govee versus the XMCosy is the Govee, you can actually individually address the lights, which is how I made the red, white, and blue here. The XMCosy, you can't individually tell it colors for each of the lights, but it does have the America theme if you're interested in the red, white, and blue. But if you're looking for some other colors, maybe like a sports team color combination, you're really not going to be able to get that. You can really just go with one of the solid colors that exist here. And at this point, I have both the XMCosy as well as the Govee lights on, both on their warmest setting and their brightest setting. So this is the real comparison you have. You can see definitely the Govee are a little bit brighter there. But it is time for my final thoughts and let you know who these may be for. The one thing I would say is these do seem to be better quality build. It feels, much less flimsy. I felt fine just letting them hang on their own string versus the Govee, where I really did have to run that guideline and hang them from that, or else I'm pretty sure the wire would have pulled loose of these on the Govees. But the XMCosy definitely seem like they're built to last, just not as many options. And the price really isn't any better than the Govee. So I think with the integrations that exist for Govee and the much bigger company, I would personally go with the Govee as I have at my house. But the XMCosy is definitely a fine option, especially if you're looking for something that's a little more rugged and you don't want to have to run any other guide wires or anything like that. The XMCosy, the build quality seems superior to the Govee. But let me know in the comments section below which of these two lights you prefer, and also make sure you hit that like and subscribe button. It really helps me out. And I'll see you in the next one.